Last week's episode of The Owl House had so much going on in the Philip Wittebane plot that I didn't really get a chance to talk about Ida, her father, and their history in my previous video. Now, until this new episode, Ida's history with her father was a bit spotty. In a flashback, we were able to see that he was a generally happy family man, but accidentally triggered Ida's curse one night and the owl beast attacked him. Ida's relationship with her parents became very strained after this. Ida began to avoid her father, and with her mother becoming obsessed with finding a way to break the curse, Ida eventually felt overwhelmed and ran away. Behind the Owl House, she stumbled upon the portal door, an item that was seemingly designed by Philip Wittebane on a quest started centuries ago. Ida ran off with this door, where she likely found a safe haven in the human world. Without magic, the human world likely meant her curse wasn't doing too much to her, if anything. She would return to the Boiling Isles often enough for her mother to keep trying to cure her, but according to Ida's father in this episode, they have not seen each other in 20 years, which culminated with him cornering her here, where she is to deal with what has happened. Ida's father, Del Clawthorne, made a living carving palismen, and carving palismen was something of a family business that he became a shining example of. His own palisman is a yellow cardinal, likely meaning that he also carved the palisman that would be abandoned before finding Hunter, who is a red cardinal with the same basic design. Interestingly, this red cardinal has a scar on the same eye as Ida's father. It is in this episode that we learn that when Ida transformed into the Owl Beast and attacked her father, that she didn't just take out his eye, but also injured one of his hands, with him being unable to even carve palismen since then. Something that was already becoming less common with the palistrom wood shortages that currently exist. Now, carving palistrom is a very specific thing, but one question I have to ask is why the portal door ended up in the backyard of Del Clawthorne. While the house can move with Hootie's legs, Dale goes out of his way to point out that Ida is fixing up his old tower, one piece of the Owl House that is actually not connected to it through Hootie. So I imagine that this is where Ida was living when she ran away, and that the portal door was found near this tower. One clue as to why the portal door may have been there comes from Del's work. We know that he was carving palistrom, as I said before, but just before being attacked by Ida, he said he is off for a long period of working at the mandible, which is essentially the jaw of the Titan. In this same episode, Lilith and Luz are in the head of the Titan, and Lilith calls it sacred ground. Philip Wittebane is already investigating this area to get access to the Collector at this point, and as Belos would go on to call it sacred ground to keep others away. Whatever is going on in the mandible or the jaw, it is likely of importance to Belos, and with Del being the most prominent palistrom carver in his historically known family of palistrom carvers, it makes sense that he would be invited there for palistrom-related work. Belos constantly needs to eat palismen and likely could get similar fuel from palistrom trees as a whole, so Del's work at the mandible may have been about that. However, I also think it's possible it may have more to do with the door, which would show up buried behind his backyard for E to discover sometime later. Philip Wittebane had designs for the door all the way back in the Deadwardian area, but we don't know for certain that he was able to actually make the door so soon despite having all of the ingredients. He may have been waiting for the right time, place, and person to come along to carve it, and still decades to spare before the Day of Unity. Perhaps he would need the help of a famous carver of palismen like Del to carve a portal door out of palistrom wood. This missing ingredient could explain why Luz's door only showed her the human realm instead of letting her actually go there. Palismen are essentially a second source of magic, and there are likely lots of amazing magical things that can be done with the magic of palistrom wood other than making palismen, but it would still make sense to call in an expert like Ida's father. After all, Del is helping the Bat Queen replenish the forest with palistrom wood, despite how hard they have been to garden in recent times. So his experience with palistrom wood goes far beyond just carving them, and while we don't know what coven he is in, I would wager he is in the plant coven and is considered a prominent member there. Del looks to be an upstanding man, and I doubt he would be happy about helping Belos, however, and after learning about what he was doing, Del would end up taking the portal door and burying it in his backyard, while perhaps claiming to never be able to properly put the door together based off of the designs that Belos had. Perhaps Del himself did not actually construct the door, but was instead called in to somehow fix or maintain it after centuries of misuse. I could see all of this being revealed soon, and that being how Luce finally gets her own portal door working, assuming it is not all just building towards Luce invading Belos' castle and using his portal door by the end of the season. But what do you guys think? Let me know your opinion in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.